Welcome to Monday Mornings with Michelle, the new business podcast. Whether you're kicking off your day or kickstarting your business, Michelle is going to kick your ass into next week with the essential fours: strategy, systems, support, and state of mind. Now, welcome to center stage, Michelle Nedelec.
Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec. I am super glad that you're here with us today because I am here with my most amazing guest, Debbie Allen. You guys are going to love her. Thank you, Debbie, so much for being here today with us.
Always a pleasure. You bet.
Nice. So give us a 5,000-foot view of who you are and what you do.
5,000 foot. Wow. First time I've been asked it that way. That's a biggie. We'll have all day.
Okay.
Well, I grew up in a small town outside of Gary, Indiana. So that's not like a, beautiful thing. It's like kind of, I call it the armpit of the US. It was pretty much the murder capital and car theft capital of the country. But I grew up there, and my father started a business when I was just like a senior in high school. He had never been an entrepreneur before that. He was a car salesman, and he started a car rental business because everybody was getting their car stolen. And so there was something in me that always wanted to run a business. And I don't really know where I got that from, but I became an entrepreneur owning a business at age 19, because when I joined the family business, I said, I'm not just going to get a paycheck. I want to be part of this company and see it grow. And in my 20s, we grew that company from 5 rental cars to 250 rental cars, campers, vans. And then on top of that, we were the first in Northwest Indiana to start a mini storage business. And my father went to the banks and they all said, this is a fad, like that's never gonna fly. And I even thought the same thing, like, what do people need those for? Like, we have a house with a garage and stuff. And he said, get in the car, and he drove me around all these apartment buildings, and like, those people need places to put their stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. And then we built that big facility. It started out small because we didn't have the money from the bank, and then we just kept filling it with people waiting on a wait list. And then we proved ourselves. The bank gave us a little more money. Then we opened up 2 huge facilities. And then within a few years, we sold it to a major company called Public Storage, which is now all over the country. And that was my first $1 million sale before the age of 30. Then I got tired of working the family business because it was just not my thing. It was just where I went, and the scaling of it, the growth part was fun. But at that point, I wanted to leave and start my own business. And some of you listening here, like you want that next thing. You're like looking for that next, I call it the next chapter, but you don't even know what it is. Especially like for me, I didn't go to college, barely got through high school. It's like, I just wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know my next thing. And so somebody offered me an opportunity to buy a retail clothing store. Well, the only problem with that, Michelle, was it lost money for 6 years, and I never worked a day in retail. So everybody said, you're crazy. Yeah. So true entrepreneurs know that when you say you're crazy, that means, hey, maybe I want to do something good.
Exactly. I'm right on track.
Right. Exactly. It's a fad. It's crazy. Hey, this is good. Let's go. And so I started that retail business, and then I turned it from $100,000 to $2.5 million in 2 years. Scaled it because I worked with mentors. And back then I didn't even know there was mentors. They were just kind of like a mastermind group that I got invited to, like, because I paid my dues, not because I had the knowledge. I didn't know anything, but I just kept looking for those people that were going to give me the answer. And I think I've done that ever since. My professors in life, I have a master's degree many times over from all of the entrepreneurs that I've hired, people that were already doing it, and then say, hired them and say, take me on the shortcut, get me there. And I would just implement like a crazy person. And I was always a sponge to learn and do whatever. I'm very coachable. And I think that's, that was the reason that I took that business, up so quickly. Then I just built and sold retail stores for 15 years before I got into the speaking business, and got into the speaking business because I wanted to help people be successful. And I felt that I was, handed this gift, and that I wanted to give it to other people. So, that made sense, I guess, to look back and I go that I want to be a mentor someday. I didn't know that even, really existed like back then. But when you have somebody that's helped you like that, And that's what I do now. I love helping people be successful still to this day. I've been speaking and for 25 years professionally, but I took just the paid speaking business and turned it into more of an expert who speaks professionally. A lot more opportunities to create a lot more income that way than just paid speaking.
And I love the nonchalant way of, then I just bought and sold retail businesses.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the entrepreneur model. I heard
Yeah.
that from a mentor. It's like you build to sell or you build to magnify. And in my case, I did both. I built it from the very beginning to sell. I happen to love business more than fashion, although I had a very big closet. Can you imagine, right?
Oh, yeah.
And but I love business more. I love the growth process. I loved taking on a challenge and then seeing it happen. And that's what I still do today. I can't open up a new business every 6 months, but I can take on personal clients and I help them grow their businesses. And I still love it. And I do it in so many different diverse markets. And I think I'm able to do that because I've had so many different diverse businesses in my life.
That is fantastic. I love that. And I'm a huge fan because I'm a child of, oh, that's interesting. I think I'll start a business now. Done that with a weird variety of things, but we won't get into that because this is your time.
So no, it sounds like you had like the same childhood, right? Like my dad would start a new business every 6 months. I mean, those were the two that were successful. I could tell you lots of other ones that were like, okay, when he got in the porta potty, when he wanted to get in the porta potty business, Michelle, I think that was like my exit strategy started happening. Because I'm thinking,
maybe
the employee doesn't show up for the weekend when they need to get cleaned. I'm like, nah, I know what do whatever it takes in business, but that was like kind of the end for me.
I'm willing to lay grass. Come on. Can handle that one. Oh, that's hilarious. So right now with helping people build their businesses and grow them, who do you mostly deal with? And then we'll get into who do you love dealing with. So who are the majority of your clients?
Well, I love dealing with every one of my clients because they handpick me and I handpick them. Nice. They have to be coachable. They have to be somebody that wants to learn what I'm teaching them. And basically what I'm teaching them is my life's work. I'm sharing my years of entrepreneurial wisdom. I'm kind of like a business intuitive. Like somebody gives me an idea and then I can look at it and go, let's shift this idea to this, or maybe it's a really good idea. And I can see where they can go in their business and how much money they can make and what they can do in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I can visualize that way before they can. And so that is my gift. So when I take on a client, I want to be all in. So I do limit the number of personal clients that I take on, but they're people that want to be, do what I do. I mean, they want to be speakers, they want to be coaches or consultants, they want to write a book, they want to have an online course, they want maybe a mastermind, master classes online, all of the income streams that you use speaking for online and on stages to create, coaching business and speaking business and everything. So, so everybody kind of has a different goal from that. Like some of my clients are like, been teachers for 20 years. Like they don't even know how to be an entrepreneur. I have clients that are doctors and nurses that, just looking for their next chapter and they go, that's cool. Like that's kind of a lifestyle business. I'd want to write a book someday and I'd want to speak, but they have absolutely no clue of how to do it. And some of my clients are multimillionaires already, but now they want to give back. So they wrote a book, but now they don't know how to monetize the book. So, they're kind of all in different directions of where they want to be, but most of them are, they've lived a life where they have some passion that they want to share it with the world. And they want to monetize it, and monetize it quickly.
Absolutely. And when you say that, I want to write a book, I want to do masterminds, I'm like, that sounds like a 6-year program. It's like, so you're helping people get all of that stuff done all in 1 year.
Yeah. So like, here's a good example. Like one of my clients I'll take that says she had no idea to be an entrepreneur. She was an art teacher for 20 years, Stacy Danford. She lives in Texas. Adorable. She has a great personality. She was already kind of a good speaker because she was teaching for years, but not like she had to learn some skills of speaking and selling. And that's one of the things I teach my clients as well. So in a full year program, they're learning speak to sell programs from me. They're coming to a couple of different events for that. We're doing their branding, from their idea, we're doing their website, so we're really building that entire business plus the skill sets. And so when Stacy said to me, I only knew how to get a paycheck. I didn't know how to make money. And I was like, what, like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess you'd think that way because I've never had a job in my life. So I never thought like that. So, for her to shift her thinking and to grow this business now. So Michelle, she took it from, okay, 20 years, the most she made was 45,000. Doesn't matter if you're a good teacher, you're a bad teacher, you show up, that's what you're going to get paid. Teacher of the year, doesn't matter. You don't get any bonuses, nothing, kudos, whatever. And so her goal was to make 100,000 in her first year. And that's what she did. So after we built it, and then she had, so she probably did it in about a year and a half because we had to build the business and build the whole thing. So to do that from where she was at was pretty incredible. And she started speaking right away. Before she was speaking, she wasn't getting paid. So she started getting paid. She started at $3,500 for keynotes, went to $4,500. And she started with keynotes, which is very rare. She just had that personality, and she's speaking on a topic of gratitude, which is really a soft skill. But here's the thing is when she told me her whole story is that when she left being an art teacher, she went back to school because that's what teachers know, right? And she learned neuroscience, and she specifically studied, I know, a neuroscientist from an art teacher, right? How do we combine those two? And then her passion is gratitude, but how the brain is affected when you're in gratitude. And she studied this, like she had no idea how to monetize that, right? And how we positioned her, and that's the key thing is expert positioning. That's when it blew up, because business people like to know how to use their brain better, now I wouldn't listen to like a soft skill gratitude. Yeah, I know about that. I'm not going to journal every morning. That's not me. But when I hear about how that can affect my brain, that affects my business and my life and happiness, then I'm listening, because it's like, now it's science. And so that's really what shifted her, and people just loved her. And she was selling, she had no email list, nothing. So I said, get on Facebook. You're adorable. Just like get on Facebook and do Facebook Live like all the time and get a following from there. And so that's how she started her following from there. And the first time she launched a course, she made $20,000 with basically a Facebook and Instagram following. Nice. So yeah, she had the direction, she had the right niche that was really unique. She had the personality, she had the guidance, so that's one of my favorite, because when somebody's working that hard for that long, really being underpaid, and she just had no idea she could do it, because everybody told her the same thing. You're crazy. You don't know anything about speaking. Who's going to pay you to speak on gratitude?
That's awesome. I love that. And I love that you're just going through all of my questions, one right after another. It's like, that is a perfect Cinderella story. That's awesome. I love that. And talk to me about positioning, because I think positioning is huge and people don't really understand what it is, how it works. It seems like genie in a bottle kind of magic. How do you explain what positioning is to people, and how do you get them to reposition if they're in love with where they're at?
Yeah, because a lot of people come to me and they're just reinventing, because, when do you reinvent? When you're not making the kind of money you want, when your marketing doesn't work anymore, right? Your positioning is too general. That's the biggest problem that most people have in business, is they're too general, because they're like, well, if I keep it really general, then I can get this kind of client, but he's like, you can't get everybody. You have to narrow your niche. You have to stay in your lane. And so that's what the position is. Positioning, where could you position yourself as an expert? I'm actually positioned as the expert of experts. The expert of experts. And that was given to me by my clients, because I'm the expert who teaches people how to be experts. So that's, I've written other books, but that one is really the mainstay of my business. And so I think that it has to do with really finding that narrow niche and then owning it even before you start. So from a very first call somebody would do with me, it's like, I'm doing a business and brand strategy call. So it has to start with the brand strategy, which is your foundation. And so if they're the hardest one to brand is something in leadership, because there's so many things in leadership. So you got to find a real specific, unique niche in there. And so how do I do that? I go look on a Google search and try and find something that, nobody else owns, but it's keyword rich. Like when I came up with the title of the book, Highly Paid Expert, I was calling myself a business and brand strategist before that. Well, what's that? That's pretty general. But when I realized, what am I doing? I'm helping people be highly paid experts. That's what they're doing. So then it's like, you're close to it, right? So then I started owning that. I knew it was going to be a book. I knew it was going to be a workshop. I knew it was going to be a mentoring program. So I started buying every domain around highly paid expert. So now if you go on a Google search, and you put in highly paid expert, I'm coming up on Google, page 1, page 2, page 3. I mean, from YouTube videos to everything. But you have to think that way when you're either starting out or you're reinventing, is an area that you can really own in the category of domains. So that, like you could have highly paid expert podcast, you could have book, you could just think of all the other streams of income you want to build around a business. And then that's the domain you want to grab, where it has to be highly searched on Google. So now we're playing the Google game. Then I teach my clients also to play the YouTube game, which is all keyword rich, and that gets them the exposure. And I think that's why they move quicker, because they're positioned under one specific niche that they can really own and that they're known for. So people might forget your name, but they're not going to forget, oh yeah, you're the one that speaks on that. You're the one that's an expert on that, right? So it starts from the very, very beginning. And a lot of people don't do this right, because they'll write a book or they'll start a podcast or do something else without even going to get the domain. And to me, that's like, that's strategy number one from the very beginning.
Right. So what would you say to somebody that has kind of their passion child? It's like the example that you had given us where her thing is gratitude. How would you work with somebody that's doing that and they're just so, I want to be a life coach and I want to help people to, find their happy space. Like, to me, that is, it's a noble and a great cause, but it is so disastrous in business. I mean, you may as well just go out and start a bonfire and throw money at it. So like, how do you work with these people to say it's not really about that so much as it is about what the market is asking for? It's like telling an artist to go and create commercial art without creating commercial art. If that makes sense.
Right. No, I said, well, are you serious? I mean, it's great, but I said, a hobby is not going to sustain. I said, one of the things my father told me leaving the family business is, you better make this more than a hobby, or you're not going to have a business. And that stuck with me. And so I realized when people are coming from that, and I go, I understand your passion there. That is great. Passion is something that will drive you through really hard times, because you're going to have ups and downs in business, but it is not the thing that drives your business as far as money. So that passion must have a business plan behind it. It must have a strategy behind it. And otherwise you're going to run into problems in business. You're going to take on the wrong clients. You're going to take on clients that are going to want to hire you dollar per hour versus, giving you a big chunk of money up front for what you do. And so, hey, take the passion. I think passion is fabulous, but it doesn't sustain unless you build it as a business. And so, I think when I ask that question, is this something you want to make money from? Because then are you coachable to do the things that I'm, willing to tell you about? And if they are, then it could be a great client, because sometimes it just starts with the passion and idea. Sometimes the passion, they hold on to it. I got another example of that, Michelle, is that a young gentleman, he's 32 years old, Ben, a client of mine. I'm still working with him. We started branding his business like the beginning of the year. And he wanted to talk to, his market was, I want to help young male adults, early 30s, go get through emotions that they're not dealing with, because they're not handling emotions. So they're doing negative things such as drinking, getting on drugs, whatever, right? They don't know how to deal with their emotions in life, and that's causing problems. And it was from his own experiences. So that was his true passion, all around emotional healing for that specific market. I said, okay, I understand that passion. I said, and we can go there if that's really where you want. But I'm going to tell you, we also talked about how much money you want to make in a year. And that's going to be a stretch, because that is a tough market that doesn't have money, that doesn't believe in themselves. So what you're going to run into is when you get somebody that says, hey, I want to learn about that. And then when it comes down to have to do the work, you're going to have problems. There's going to be barriers. And I said, I can see that. I said, you can monetize it. I think that it might even take you 2 to 3 years to even get that to 100,000. I mean, maybe if you're doing workshops and you've got, you built your programs up higher and stuff. But I said, that if that's where you want to go. And he's like, oh yeah, that's it. If I do 50,000 my first year, I'll be happy. Okay. So we did that. We created the whole brand. And then I kept telling him, go into the HR field. That's where you came from. Your success is in HR. Like, you have at such a young age. He was traveling the world, opening up HR offices around the world. I mean, he's brilliant. And you think that he's done all this at such a young age. I said, don't ignore that. I said, just pay attention to that market and don't say no, even if you can teach your topic that you like around emotions, because, they go through a lot of stuff. And so then he started getting hired. I said, let's start a fee, what your fee would be if you got hired to speak. And then from his LinkedIn, before we even got the website done, somebody reached out to him, can you speak at this HR group? And can you speak at this HR group? I'm like, okay, so he had to see that's where the money was. And he comes back, he's like, you were so right. That's where the money is. I said, you can still help those other people. And so sometimes it happens where your passion is to help people because you make money, you can go help them, right? That's like your philanthropy give back program, but it's not where your money comes from. And a good example of that, another example of that is I have another client who was, she got on drugs, she was in prison. I mean, her life is unbelievable. She wrote a book in prison. Like she is one of my superstars. I love her. She has totally turned her life around and she's such an inspiration, but she wants to speak to prisons and people that are going through tough. I said, hey, that's not where your money is. You go do that when you want to do that, but that's not where our marketing is going to be. And so it's just kind of the same with me. I mean, we all have our passions projects where we go, that's not where my money is, but if I want to go do that, that fulfills my passion, fulfills my heart. But the money's somewhere else. So yeah, good example of where passion can be positive and where passion can be negative if you don't utilize it correctly.
Oh yeah, and I find also so many times when people do a pivot, they have a tendency to want to throw out everything that they just did instead of bring it forward with them. And it's like, hey, but there's parts of that you're really good at that you can do in your sleep, that if we incorporate it into your passion, like we can make something awesome and epic. And then like, well, how do I become an art teacher and a neuroscience and put those two together and make a business out of it? But when you work with somebody like Debbie, you can. So give us a couple of stumbling blocks of what somebody might be going through right now. And they're thinking, oh my God, Debbie, I need you so badly.
They're stuck. They're just not making the money. I mean, a lot of people took a big hit with the, COVID and the shutdown. I especially if they were professional speakers and they were a one trick pony. I mean, I reinvented myself from one of the top paid professional women speakers in the world. I was really at that level of income when 2008 hit, the crash. And that's when I created other income streams and reinvented myself. So, if the money's not coming in or if it's not fun anymore, like a lot of times I reinvent myself, like it's not fun anymore. You might even be making money, but you're like, there's got to be something else I could be doing. And sometimes people leave the corporate market and they go, where do I go next? And I have a lot of people that leave the corporate market and are looking for something as a business lifestyle business. Like I want to do this business completely online. Okay, sure. You don't even have to leave your house if you don't want to. Get dressed halfway up here, get a nice background. You can build business and get clients online. But they don't know the steps to do that. So it's just really, if you're not making the money, if you're not passionate or having fun anymore, those are usually two of the biggest signs that you need to be doing something else. And like you said, Michelle, package up your bag of tricks, your knowledge, your skills that you had from what you've learned, and then create a business around that, because we're looking for experts every day online. We're looking for information. And so, you don't have to be the speaker that gets on the stage, speaker in a podcast, you're just sharing your voice. And I think a lot of people get into careers, they might maybe make good money, but they've never really shared their voice. It was, they were always doing something or making money for somebody else, but not really for themselves.
Right. That's awesome. So how quickly, in your experience, could somebody scale their business, either through the systems, the strategies, the support, the state of mind, change one of those things? How quickly can they?
So let's take ground zero. So from an idea, I got an idea, like want to write a book about it, maybe want to have an online course, just coming from the idea. So it would take us about 6 months to build the brand, build the website, teach you some skills, how to put a webinar together, how to make sell a program, put together your speaking topics, if that's what you want to do, put together what your course is and outline that. Because I always agree that you sell a group class first, which becomes your course. You don't put the whole course together, which people make that mistake. Or they write a book and they have no marketing plan. It's all totally the wrong way. So I'm taking them with every step that works in the right order. So that is cutting probably 3 years off of their time right now. So after usually 6 months, I mean, some of my clients get clients and get income starting to come in within the first few months. So others are, they wait to kind of build it and focus just on building the business and focus on the skills before they really kind of launch themselves. So pretty quickly, most all of my clients are going from 0 to 6 figures within a year and a half. Some are already at 6 figures and want to go multiple 6 figures, $400,000 a year. So we found other income streams for them that they were just sitting on. Like one of my clients, he was doing 300,000. He had a membership program for young real estate or new real estate agents. And I'm like, oh my God, you're sitting on a gold mine here. Like they already love you. Like, why are you not, let's introduce all these other income streams. So for him, it was just like he blew his business up, just adding extra income streams. This is adding VIP days for those clients that would die to spend a day with him because they've been in his membership program, masterminds, workshops. He hadn't done live events. So he's like, he had been like stuck in what was safe. And he just, I don't know if I can do a live event. Like, what is it? What is holding you back from doing a live event? Don't think about it like 700 people in the room. Think about it like if you got 30 people in the room, you got high-end programs now that I've helped you put together. Like you can do this. And so I would actually have him come and work the back of the room at my event, like see what it's like, talk to the people. And he would just sell me, like, right. I'm like, hey, this is great. Right. But, he had to sit there and like study it, and, a couple times before he really went, okay, I'm going to go jump in and do this. So if they already have something, adding those extra income streams and that extra income is easy.
Nice. And I think familiarity is massive when it comes to building somebody's confidence and being able to help them to pivot. It's not necessary, but it's super helpful to some people to be able to see you in action, see what's going on in the room, and just to be able to see what's possible for them. And then they start to wrap their head around how this little magical unicorn actually turns into a real business. It's like, no, this is real. It really does happen.
Well, they do. Like they come to the Highly Paid Expert workshop and they see me deliver. They see me deliver the information and teach, and they see me doing hot seats on stage. They see me giving my clients awards. They see me recognizing clients, and then they see me, making sales, and they're like, wow, okay, this is really cool. I could see how this whole thing can work. They have to come and experience it. And I have some clients that come back year after year after year, because that's like the shot in the arm that keeps them going, and I make multiple 6 figures in a weekend. And that's not putting hundreds of people in a room. That's putting like 75 people in a room, because they're very specific target market that wants that specific thing. And so they're ready to jump in and get that help at the next level. And then I have another client that I talked to just yesterday, a newer client, and she has 15 years in HR, another HR person. And she has just been marketing on LinkedIn, like doesn't even have a good website yet or anything. And she put together a webinar because she knows how to pick the hot topics, because she's been in the market, what the pain points are. So she picked her webinars based on the hot topics. And then she has she had like 200 people sign up for her first like webinar. I'm like, what? 200 people signed up for you posting this on LinkedIn? Are you kidding me? And then she's like, I didn't sell. I'm like, what? We got to work on this. So, cause she's already ahead, like she's got the years of experience. She's already got a following. She knows how to monetize it. And so she's going to make an offer for like $297. I'm like, no. We are not making a $297 offer. We're going to get them to a call. So I put the strategy together, just educate them, get them to a call. I knew that's where she was comfortable. We walked through the strategy of the call. And then now you've got all your programs, put all the programs together. Now you got your programs at a glance. After that conversation, you're going to know where to plug them in, and then you're going to sell a high-end program versus selling $297. That's not even an option, right? With the experience that you have. And she just got off the call. She's like, oh my gosh, this is like a game changer. I'm so excited, right? And it was like, for her, it was a tweak. But that tweak was like, I'm broke, to like, she's going to kill it like really quickly because she's got the market nailed, right?
Absolutely. It's so much fun to watch people when they go from an educational webinar to a sales webinar. It's like, you really only have to say these other 6 things that you already know. You just hadn't said them before. And it's like, and all of a sudden magic happens. Wow, these things work. Yes, they work phenomenally well. This is awesome. I could pick your brain all day, but I honor and appreciate your time here. So I won't do that, but I may bring you back onto the show again for a second one when we can specifically drill into some things. So I know that our listeners are going to want to hear more from you. How do they start their journey with you?
Well, my website, remember the name, I said like fame, right? Debbie Allen, it's pretty easy. I say, how'd you get that Debbie Allen website when there's a famous person out there? Well, I've had it since 1997, a few reinventions, DebbieAllen.com. If you like this concept of a highly paid expert, go grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It walks you through that whole process. And if you want to come and experience that with me, go to my workshop page, which is highlypaidexpertworkshop.com. I have one coming up, first time live in 2 years. I'm so excited. October 8th and 9th, please. Let's just keep it. We every day we go, please don't lock us down. We're ready for live. There's no other experience like that. And so, we have a ballroom at the Marriott here in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, a place you want to come. And hey, if this is what you want, come enjoy the workshop, spend a couple extra days, go to beautiful Sedona, make it a trip.
Nice. We love that. Oh, yes, I do love that. Are you doing a hybrid or are you just doing fully live?
Fully live this time.
Fully in person. Okay. Awesome. We love those. I was going to ask you, at what point in life do you know that you're special, kind of crazy enough to know that you could become an entrepreneur? But you already answered that, I think. And I love that. As soon as somebody says you're crazy, you know you're right on track. And I know it's the overcoming the challenge that has been kind of the intrigue that pulls you in. But what is your favorite part of being an entrepreneur versus anything else?
Oh, you could do your own thing. I could never. I have to spell it J-O-B. That terrifies me. Like that pushes me to do more in my marketing. I love marketing. I love business. I would be a terrible employee. I just would be awful. Like, what? I'm not in charge. I can't tell you what to do. It's like once you're an entrepreneur, it's like you just can't go back, right? And where I've really tell people is you don't have to know the how. I tell you everywhere I made a mistake, everywhere I could have failed. And I prove to you that, hey, if I did it, you can do it, because I didn't know the how for any business I ever started. I just started with, like I said, the passion, and then wanting to learn, being a sponge to learn it, and took off from there and said, I'm going to be the best at this. If I choose this direction, I'm going to be the best at it. Not because of money, more of the achievement. I think that's what drove me. And I think that's the thing that drives me more now. Just like, I can do this and then achieve it. And then I can do this. And then when you do it, of course, the money comes instead of just following the money, because you're not really following your passion, your dream, from that beginning.
I love that. You said something super important, is you don't need to know how, because I think a lot of people get into that I can't do this because I don't know how. So they're telling themselves I can't do this as opposed to I can do this. So just flipping that around to I don't know how to do this, but I know I can do this. Because if somebody else can do it, I can do it, and I'll figure it out. And it's just that trust in people. So those are my last words for the peeps today, but what are your last words for our peeps today?
Well, and again, I'll add to that, Michelle, is you don't have to know the how, but you're going to need some help. So you've got to find your mentors. I still hire mentors to this day. When COVID hit, I hired 3 mentors last year. And there were things that I already knew, but it was like they were a little bit better in those areas. I'm like, okay, if I can tweak that and make it a little bit more, that's an extra 50,000, extra 100,000 in that income stream. And then there's this income stream, and I'll learn that. And so the thing is, you have to always have a mentor. And I think when you get to a certain level too, you always need a mastermind. So that's like the newest thing now, is like everybody's going into a mastermind. My mastermind is all JV partners. So that's all we do. They're all high level. You have to be nominated to even get into the group. And then we support each other and promote each other. So that just magnifies your marketing. So that's the other thing, is don't be an island by yourself, get the help, and also surround yourself with other real high level people as you grow.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you so much for your time today, Debbie. I appreciate it and I honor it. And it's been an absolute pleasure. This is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you know anyone who would make a great guest for the show, or if you have a question or topic that you'd like me to discuss, please reach out to me at michelle@awarenessstrategies.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening to our show. I am all about being a resource center for entrepreneurs to give them the information and the support they need to make it in business. As such, I have Taking Your Business Digital Q&A every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain. To register for that, go to awarenessstrategies.com/digital. That's DIGITAL. I look forward to meeting you and actually finding out how you are. So see you on the flip side.